Hi, my name is Volodymyr and I am a CEO of a software development company named NERDZ LAB. We specialize in a startup building and growing new and young businesses. So, why is the healthcare? During the pandemic that was at 2020-2021, there was a huge boom for healthcare startups and they raised a bunch of investments through different funds. It has a huge boost, therefore currently it's still the hot topic. Additionally, if we'll be thinking what industry thrives the best and is always hot, it's actually healthcare, because there is always a human who needs to take care of their treatment, of their health and so on, so it will be always popular, comparing to blockchains that one time it's on a hype, another time it's really down and you are like on a huge volatility. Here it's kind of more stable. That's why it can be necessary to pick this industry. You are working not with simple business management tools or etc. You're working with a tool who has a direct impact on human health, and comparing to what impact it may have, it has a different levels of measurement you need to take to ensure that you are not doing worse than it is. So it can be very simple tools, it can be from meditation, right, which doesn't have a huge impact on the health, and ending up with a digital devices, for example the insulin pump, who will be injecting insulin into your blood, which is kind of risky and can cause a huge disease and problems. And for this type of startups, you need to have a certain certification, and you will be required to pass a bunch of checks to be able to produce it live. If we are digging more into the side of app and products that has an influence on human health, we will require to spend more effort / budget for quality assurance process to ensure that everything works perfectly and the probability of mistake is very, very little, as it has a high impact on the person's health, as well as on certification, for example HIPAA compliance. And it means for us that we need to take into consideration that it's not the ordinary project, and it will require much more work from our side, from our business side, to be able to get live. And it's from one part a bad approach, but from another stuff it's good, because there is much less competition, because other competitors would require to do the same. Therefore, if you're eager to go this way, if you understand all the pitfalls you may have, it's a very good approach, and it's very good in the long run. As any other product, before you start, you need to have a clear scope of work and the problem you are solving, not to dig in any possible area and try to fix all existing issues. You need to tackle only the main one and fully focus your effort on this one. Therefore, comparing to the issue you're solving, you may require different functionalities inside the product. So if you are willing to connect a doctor with a patient, it can be some sort of a telemedicine application. You will need a video streaming functionality. If you are willing to create the application for medical device, you will need to have an embedded development functionality. If you require application to buy medicine, you will require payment processing, history, I'm not sure, something like that. Therefore, each application is still different comparing to the problem you are trying to solve. The one common thing for all of them is the security, because in reality you are storing the medical data, and medical data is tend to treat as a very sensitive information. Therefore, you need to pay an additional attention on how secure your storage is, how good approaches you are trying to take to secure it. How to ensure that it's secure? It's very simple. You can do a frequent penetration testing. This is a type of test that tries to crack your security breach, find out holes through which they can dig into your database and find the relevant information. It's good to have some frequency, once a month, once in 2 months, depending from the project scope and the size you're doing that, but it's always good to have it for such type of applications. Each decision you are making in a healthcare application, especially we are talking about the type of apps who has a high influence on the patient health, each mistake you can make can cause really huge harm. So therefore, selecting a vendor who will be responsible for developing is very, very important. It can be your local team, it can be an external offshore vendor, depends from your preferences, but you need to take certain steps to ensure that they are capable enough to do this work. Otherwise, their mistake will hardly harm your business and will hardly harm the patient health, which won't end up good for any side. So what is the best way to select a good vendor? Firstly, you need to ensure the relevance of their experience. Is it the first healthcare project they were doing? Is it the project of the type they were doing before? Do they have any sort of a certification passed for security measurement? Are they doing a penetration test? You need to ensure that their experience is hardly correlevant to your needs. This is the first step that you need to take. So after that, when you select the list of vendors who is good enough for you to go further, you need to ensure through the different rating systems what exactly are the feedback about their work, how serious they are, is there any bad feedbacks and why. Be very careful with companies from the countries of a first stand, like USA, UK, because usually such companies tend to grab a project and resell it to other offshore countries, for example, India, Pakistan, which have much lower price. Therefore, you can think that you are buying company A, which has a proven track of record with a healthcare project, good ratings, and is located within your area, which is very good. But in reality, you will be buying an offshore Indian company who won't do the final job on a good level. Take it seriously, because from this point, you will be responsible for all the actions they are making. Spend more time if needed, spend more resources if it needed, but select the vendor who will do it professionally. Now let's talk about team composition. So you selected the vendor, you are ready to go ahead, but you need to create the perfect team. So for sure, your team will require to have UI UX designer. If you don't have any designs, it will require to have quality assurance person, 1 or 2. Why 2? Because it may be needed to have a penetration tester who will be doing all the pen tests, or automation tester, additionally to a manual QA. So these are the guys who will be fully responsible to ensuring that the product you are delivering have no issues or have very small amount of them. After that, depending on your preferred platforms, you may need to have mobile developer or a web developer, or both, in case you're planning to release on both platforms at the same time. And lastly, you will need to have a backend developer. So from the development part, we are done. From additional, I would name it complementary stuff, you may need to have a project manager. This is a guy who will be trying to keep everything together, measure the performance of a team, measure the blockers, why we are not moving faster, and trying to fix that. So this is kind of hidden but very important role for a project to be able to move frequently on a stable basis. Lastly, you may need to have a BA person, business analyst. This is a guy who will be collecting the requirements from you, measuring the market standards, trying to find the best business solutions, and transferring it into a technical language understandable for a designer and for a development team. So, in simple words, this is a translator from a business problem that you're trying to solve to a business solution. So the tip number one, which is relevant not just to healthcare but to all the projects, you are solving one problem. Do not try to solve many problems at the same time. Focus on one core that has a pain and solve this one. Tip number two, remember that your solution will never be perfect from a first glance. Save some resources for customer feedbacks. They will definitely be, and you will need to adapt. You will need to add new features, remove the not working functionalities, change the functionalities. Be ready for that. Try to use as much as possible ready solutions. You will need to pay for them, and initially it's worth to use ready solutions instead of paying for development capacities until you will start growing, because the bigger you are, the more you will need to pay to these third-party tools. But economing as much resources initially and investing them into proper updates or marketing or sale is beneficial for your project. Your key need at this stage is to start growing. After that, you will try to remove unnecessary costs from this solution. But keep in mind, if you are passing certain certifications, you may be obligated to store a bunch of the data on your own, to handle a bunch of the processes on your own. Therefore, not all third-party solutions will be capable for your usage. Keep a close eye on that, because it's important to use only those who has also certain certification level. Thanks for watching. We'll be filming more videos about startups, about their history, what tools you can use, how to evolve that, the possible mistakes, and anything that may be interested for our audience. Feel free to write a comment what you're really interested, so we can pick the topics that bother you the most and elaborate on that. Thank you, and see you next time.